Greetings everyone, welcome back to Cinema Prescriptions, where we dive deep into a film and prescribe you all that you need to enjoy the film. I am your host, Mr. Dr. Rice, and today we will be going over
A Quiet Place, Day 1. Let's get to it. Alright, so the synopsis goes, when New York City comes under attack from an alien invasion, a woman and other survivors try to find a way to safety. They soon learn that they must remain absolutely silent as the mysterious creatures are drawn to the slightest sound. So this is supposed to be day 1. This is supposed to be how it all began. With a prequel film, you are trying to add context to an established film or a film series. Can this film give us more detail about the creatures in the film? And can this film also serve a higher purpose than being rather just a cash grab or just fan service? Also, to add to the synopsis, the story follows Sam, a terminally ill cancer patient who is caught up in the events of the film. So can this film serve as an appropriate prequel and also serve as a standalone film? The director of this film was Michael Snorsky. This is his second film that he's directed. He directed the film Pig. I haven't seen that one, but it does have a pretty high score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a 79% score from 268 critics, so if that's something that you go off of, you can see that he did pretty well with his previous film. The budget for this film was $67 million. The previous film cost between $55 to $61 million. This film looked pretty good. It had some pretty high-named actors in it, such as Lupita Nyong'o, I hope I said that right, and it also had Dion Holson. I personally feel like the animation of the creatures are still kind of weird. I've always felt that way since the first and second film, A Quiet Place Part 1 and Part 2. But overall, I feel like the film has a pretty decent budget for what it's trying to do. If I were to compare this film to any film, I was thinking it was more like War of the Worlds, like how they're, of course it's like A Quiet Place Part 1 and Part 2. It kind of reminded me a little of War of the Worlds, with how the father was like on a journey across the U.S. to take his children to their mother. And also like a lot of the sequences kind of reminded me of things that happened in War of the Worlds, the one with Tom Cruise in it. So that's a good comparison film, if you don't want to just compare it to Quiet Place Part 1 and Part 2, because it's more so like those two films. What can make this film easy to love? The story has potential to show the series from a different angle. It was trying to find a way to tell a personal story in a big city, the story of a terminally ill woman who is using the invasion as a catalyst to complete her final mission. So I feel like it did have a promising story. You get more time in the A Quiet Place universe. If you're a fan of the film series, you know what you're getting into. You get into the stealthy, not making any sounds, or these creatures will attack you. So if you're looking to see more action in the Quiet Place film, this definitely serves that purpose. What can make it hard to love? The story doesn't do anything to push the universe forward. I feel like it was just an extended version of the previous two films. So I feel like everything that we got from this film, we pretty much got from The Quiet Place Part 2. The beginning of it, where you see the main character of the previous film running his family up while the aliens attack. So I feel like the story didn't do anything to push the series forward. And we also don't learn much about the creatures. We still carry over their weakness to water from the previous film, which is understandable because, there wasn't enough time to learn their weakness towards like the sound, the high-pitched sounds, but still, we really don't learn much about the creatures in this film. Like, you wish you would have seen something new from them, like maybe they started off looking different or whatnot, but there wasn't much new to the creatures in this film. And finally, the story could have used some work. Like at the beginning of the film, I did not know she was terminally ill. I didn't know why she didn't want to go into the city. And I just feel like they could have hit those plot points a little harder at the beginning, just so you know the stakes of the film. The story wasn't that interesting, and the secondary characters were just cannon fodder. You really don't get close to anybody else until like halfway through the film. And I feel like they could have used the setting to tell a different story, because we already seen like what it's like living in the countryside. Why can't we see how it is living in a big city and dealing with the monsters? I mean, I feel like it had an opportunity to, I'm not saying it was the right choice, it had an opportunity to go in the direction that Aliens 2 went versus Alien 1. So more action oriented, them fighting back against the alien creatures. So my prescription for you is, if you want to enjoy this film, enjoy the story that had lots of potential to take the series in a different direction. If you want to get more from A Quiet Places universe, what can make it hard to love is the story didn't do much to push the story of the universe forward. You didn't learn much more about the aliens. And lastly, I feel like they did not utilize their setting to tell a better story. So that's my prescription for you. See you next time.